So, hey all, I hope you have had a wonderful day. The week's just started for me, so I've had an eventful day actually, but it's cool. Life is an energy and it has its own way of doing things, so we're just gonna kind of chill with that. We're not gonna take it personally. But yeah, today I want to talk about idealization and devaluation. And I'll tell you what it was inspired by. It was inspired by this topic, was inspired by a Netflix film that I watched called Borgen. And it's about a Danish prime minister and her seat as the country's first female leader. It's a drama. And there was a particular relationship that she has that stood out for me, where a former co-worker who was close to her acts out idealization and then devaluation because she helps her get to that position. And when she's in the position, she literally campaigns to get her out of the seat of being the first female prime minister. I mean, you'd have to watch it to get the details. However, I am sure you guys can think about times when that's happened to you. You may not have been aware of it, but at the time, but through this conversation, I'm sure it's going to come up for you. And you will see how important it is to be careful about allowing people to, cheer you on in your endeavors, because with you sharing that energy with them and allowing them to come on that journey, they also have the opportunity to devalue and take you through the process of devaluation. So they will idealize you, cheerlead you, then turn around and sabotage your success or your intention through a process called devaluation. And what we're going to talk about is it's intriguing and sometimes very painful behavior that you may encounter in your life. And to keep it simple, it's when people lift you up only to bring you down. Yeah? And this behavior can be summed up by a psychological concept. And that concept is known as idealization and devaluation. I think, how can I put it? Yeah, it's where one person initially puts another person on a pedestal and they'll be praising and expressing admiration, but you kind of know that it's disingenuous because it's kind of excessive. And that's where you have to draw the line. That's where your intuition kind of kicks in, but because your ego likes it, you don't see that as a red flag. you continue to use it as fuel to push you to the next level. Rightfully so, there's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is the fact that we don't notice too much when people are centering us in a way that's over the top. Yeah? Because what happens is, after that person's put you on a pedestal, praised and admired you, they only criticize and tear you down when you no longer meet their inflated expectations. Yeah. And this behavior it's common. It's very common. And it's common in unhealthy or toxic relationships, and is often associated with narcissistic traits and borderline personality dynamics. And there are many, many people out there like that. And if you're somebody who is looking to upgrade your life, this is information that you need to know. Because becoming more inauthentic so you can upgrade and, create the life that you want comes with stuff. And you need to be prepared for the stuff that it comes with. There's many people out there who want to do things with their life, but they can't for whatever reason, whether that's they've got prior commitments, or they're already obligated to something, they don't have the finances, they don't have the drive, they don't have the motivation, they don't have the ambition, they don't have the self-esteem, the confidence, the resources. Now, you see that don't have, when you have those things, and you don't need them all, just some, when you have those things that support you to execute your ideas, and people around you see that you're doing that, it provokes a level of envy and jealousy in them. And those are two evil characteristics. Excuse me. And it triggers narcissistic traits and brings out people's personality disorders or borderline personality dynamics. Again, the cycle begins with idealization, where the person sees you as perfect and exceptional. And we all want to be seen that way, because it makes us feel validated and valued and special. And in that moment, it's probably a genuine thing. But because that person doesn't know that they have unconscious issues, them projecting that onto you, that validation and that feeling of being valued and pushing you as being special, it can create a setup for devaluation. And what does that do? The moment when you show your human side and make a mistake or fail to meet their expectations, what happens? Suddenly, all of a sudden, the praise turns into criticism and the admiration turns into judgment. Because you've done something now that has made you human. And then they feel stupid for putting you on a pedestal. Yeah? And what they want to do is they want to maintain control over you. And they want to protect their own fragile ego. So when the praise turns into criticism and the admiration turns into judgment, it allows them to deflect attention from their own insecurities, because you've now triggered them by doing something human, which said to them that you haven't or can't meet their expectations. So recognize the cycle, recognize that cycle, because it's important. And I'm going to repeat it again. It's important for you to know these things if you are somebody who, is ready to upgrade and move the relevant pieces in your life in order for you to get to where you're going. You actually want to be more of an ascended person, and you want to balance your masculine and feminine, because you need your masculine in order to get to where you're going and achieve what you need to achieve. But sometimes you can be scared to express that because other people find it intimidating, and it triggers these types of cycles. So recognize the cycle and be aware of this behavior. You have to trust your intuition. If someone's praise feels over the top or too good to be true, it actually might be setting you up to fall. It might be a fall setup. It might be a person creating a foundation and supporting you to structure in order to bring you down at some point. I've been a victim of that many times. But one thing I love about me is I'm quick with it. So once I notice that, hold on, there's a pattern here, I ask myself, Sereena, what's going on here? It's not that you can't do the things that you want to do. That's not the issue. It's not even that you have self-doubt. Like, girl, I can. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I work through whatever issues I have personally to get to that point through the power of integrity. So that's not the issue. So what's the issue? What's delaying you? What's injuring you? What's changing your focus, Sereena? What's changing my focus is the fact that these people come along who are like, yeah, come on, you're great, you're this, you're that, you're rare. And then, all of a sudden, there's a switch. And the devaluation starts to happen. And the praise turns into criticism, and the admiration turns into judgment. And it's so sad, because it would be really lovely if you could have cheerleaders along the way. But unfortunately, not everybody can be that for you, because they haven't done enough work on themselves in order for them to have a backbone strong enough to celebrate others, unfortunately. And that's something that you're just going to have to get with. People will come into your life to get the gossip, the tea, the information, to see where you're imperfect in order to bring you down a notch, so that they can justify why they haven't got to where they've got to go, rather than looking into themselves to reflect on what they need to change, or what they need to add on, or skill up areas that they need to skill up in order for them to get to where they've got to go. Another thing is set boundaries. I mean, we talk about this all the time. If you notice a cycle happening, it's important to establish boundaries and maintain your own sense of self-worth. You know, you don't need to rely on someone else's idealization, praise, or exception, or accept their devaluation. You don't have to accept that. I'm going to repeat it. You don't need to rely on someone else's idealization, their praise, or accept their devaluation. You don't have to accept it. It's rude. It's rude for someone to see you basically in your own lane, minding your own business, and they want to just come in like a little gremlin and start chipping away at your esteem and giving you something else to focus on other than that what you should be focusing on when they initially came in, as though they wanted to support you to keep focusing on that which was going to make you upgrade and grow. It's wicked, to be honest. And of course we can look at, you know, where we do that to ourselves. And that's something that I discussed in my masterclasses and in my therapy sessions, in my one-to-one therapy sessions. And I would really love for you guys to, you know, tap in and we can discuss this one-to-one, and we can look at areas that you want to work on in order to avoid this happening, so you can raise your awareness and become more high value and more ascended and more balanced in regards to your masculine and feminine. Yeah, because a lot of people will try and take away your masculine because they'll accuse you of being aggressive, assertive, etc., etc. And they will idealize you and devalue you. Take you through that process. Stay grounded. Stay grounded. And the way to stay grounded that you might want to adopt is remembering that true support and validation doesn't come with strings attached. It doesn't. It's not, you do this and I'll do that, or behave that way and I will respect you. That's not what it is. Healthy relationships are consistent. Healthy relationships are supportive, and healthy relationships are balanced and transparent. As much as they can be, it's difficult to be completely honest because there's a lot of parts of yourself that you don't even realize until later, or themselves, you know. There's no strings attached with true support and validation. There's not. Let me give you guys a funny example. So just imagine you're at work and there's a co-worker named Dave. We'll just use a man, for example. And at first Dave is hyping you up to everyone in the office. And he's like, oh, did you see how Alex handled that project? She's absolutely brilliant. It's the best I've seen. And you start thinking, wow, maybe I should possibly write a book. and write it in the topic of, I don't know, project management, or I should start a TED talk. And that's what you start thinking, and that's what you share. And then one day you get an email from Dave, but you're busy. You're busy at work. You're busy in your own lane. You're busy doing what you've got to do. And you think, okay, I'm going to get back to Dave's email. And then you forget to reply. So imagine this, you just forgot to reply. I do it all the time. I forget to reply to emails. I forget to reply to WhatsApp messages, especially if they're not entirely like important, but I do my best to reply. But there's times when I do get sidetracked and I'm driving or I'm doing something or whatever. So you forgot to reply to Dave's email, and then suddenly it's like the world's ended, and you realize that Dave is going around and he's saying that he don't like you no more. He don't like Alex no more. So Dave's gone from hyping you up in the office, asking everyone, did you see how Alex handled that project, to the point where it's inspired you to bloody write a book. And then all of a sudden you haven't responded to Dave's email, and he's now going around telling everybody that he don't like Alex no more. So at this point, you've done the TED Talks and you're halfway through writing the project management book. But this guy has got triggered and felt rejected by something so simple that he's now going around telling everybody that the success must not be genuine. The success of your TED Talk and your project management book might not be genuine. He said it's a fluke. He's told everyone it's a fluke. And specifically, he's telling everyone that you can't even handle an email. And it's interesting when you look at things from that perspective, because it kind of was easy for Dave to get triggered into celebrating you. And that's why it was over exaggerated, because it was just so easy. And you know that because of how easy it was, for him to be triggered by the fact that you didn't reply to one of his emails. Just look at people and the things that they find, or they class as, you rejecting them. Just really think about how heavy it is or how non-heavy it is. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge people's emotions and stuff like that, but we're all adults and we all know what's petty and what's not petty. And at this point, we should be only really having high value, ascended people in our circle. That behavior is very, very low level. Very low level. And it's left you wondering if you're the same person who was supposedly TED Talk worthy last week. And that's the confusion. That's the spirit of confusion. That's the spirit of confusion that these types of people infect. infect us with. And the only way to protect ourselves from that is by being able to recognize the cycle. I have to think then. Set boundaries, stay grounded, and protect your self-esteem. Because look at that. Look at that. You're left wondering if you're the same person who was supposed to be TED Talks worthy last week. That's an attack at your self-esteem. And that was the subconscious intention, to inflate you and then deflate you, to chip away at your self-esteem. Notice these patterns, people. Notice it. That's idealization and devaluation at work. 1 minute you're a superstar, and the next moment you're persona non grata. You're no one. All because of what? All because you're human. Yeah. All because you're human. Or because you missed a email. So subscribe, share, like, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Share some examples that you have where you've experienced idealization and devaluation. You know, share. I would be interested, to see what comes up. So look forward to hearing from you guys. Keep smiling.